All right, I think we may as well get started. We do have one more student, so if she shows up a little bit late, then I'll just catch her up on what we do. Today's going to be a pretty chill day. We're just going to make some stuff out of clay. We're going to use our P300. P300 is porcelain clay. So we're going to grab our P300 out. We're going to make something like medium size, kind of small, real quick out of clay. Anything you want, really. I'll make something as well. And then we'll go over, I'll do a little bit of an example. We'll go over the colored slips. So these are basically just clays colored with various stains and stuff like that. So it's literally just clay with color in it that we put on top of clay. There's a bunch of different stuff that you can do with the slips. One most people do is called Scraffito. So you'd probably see that on like Instagram if you went and checked it out. You basically put a colored slip over your clay and then you can scratch through it or carve through it. And if you stack up various, I was trying to find some, stack up various colors of clay and carve through it, you can kind of see each color stacked up. It's kind of nice. Today we're just going to make something out of the P300 that we have. And we can put a few different colors of the slip on there. And then next week we will do some underglaze stuff on or not the things that we did. I mistakenly put the tablecloth on the table and that'll have to come off. Oops, in a sec. Sorry? Yeah, unfortunately. I'm just really quickly gonna flatten this through the slab roller, so it's gonna be a little bit loud over here for a sec. No, these colors, yes, these colors come out these color. That's a great question. So the glaze, obviously, when you put it on, looks completely different. There's a chemical reaction that happens with that. So there has to be a cold stage and a hot stage of the glaze. The cold stage, obviously, is before it gets cooked, and then the chemical reaction happens in the kiln. So for the floating blue glaze in particular, that has a lot of red iron oxide in it. So before it gets cooked, you see the red iron oxide a lot. That's what makes the floating blue red. And then when you put it in the kiln, it bakes off all the iron and is left with all the other chemicals in there. I think there's cobalt and stuff in there. Just getting some pin tools. So for the slips, we will brush these on, and I have little bulbs. We can suck up some and use these. That guy got cleaned, so he has water in him. So we can soak up some of the glaze, and they're called slip trailers. So you've probably seen that if you've looked up anything. It's usually done with white clay, the slip trailing. But I'll pull some out and show you. You can kind of draw stuff on your clay. So I've flattened this, I've rolled it through the slab roller, and I'm just going to use this little dish to quickly make myself a dish. Sorry? Yes. Always keep your clay wrapped up. Howdy. Okay, quick little dish. Hi, Max. How you doing, buddy? Hi. Hello. Hi, Max. So these are the slips. They're kind of runny so that we can brush them around. And in our class, we get access to Bonnie's very nice bamboo brushes. Choose an appropriate brush depending on the size of your piece and what you want to do. Obviously, if I want to cover this whole thing, I'm not going to choose the tiniest brush that she has. And choose a brush that you can kind of maneuver around your piece. That guy might be a little bit tricky to get inside of tight spots. I'm just going to use this. Vivid Blue, it's called. And they do come out the color that they are.
Very vivid.
Very. They go a little bit darker.
No? Change a little bit, some of them.
The slips?
I think so, no?
I don't think
that
so.
one is just funny, the name that he has.
They might.
I don't remember.
I know, some of them do have silly names.
Like that purple one is like deep cobalt blue.
Oh, yeah, that one turns the
Cadet.
This one turns blue. That's super blue, like dark blue.
Okay, well that's a pain in the butt.
That one is for sure. I remember that.
Okay.
The other ones maybe they're more similar. Oh yeah. Is that better?
Okay, well then this is going to be a mystery color. Hopefully it's a vivid blue.
So these have what mixed into them?
Mason stain, I believe. Bonnie should be here. She has more information.
So is this something we can make ourselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
You would have to buy the colorant, but you can buy powdered clays that you can mix with water to make slips, and that makes that a lot easier. Yeah, you just have to buy the colorant. I'll get Bonnie, I'll call her and ask her what we put in these. But for now, we're just going to make a little dish real quick and find a color of slip. Sorry, Max. And we'll paint that on. And we can put more than one color on there if we want. Try and let them dry a little bit in between. Decorations. I'm gonna try get a little bit of this.
So then this just gets like bisque fire.
Exactly.
And glaze it after.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll bisque fire these. It is just clay, so you can do really whatever on top of it. But we will bisque fire these, and depending on what we do, we can just put a clear glaze over top of them, or we can put another transparent kind of. There's some not fully transparent colored glazes. It's like a chun. It's like a light blue, but it's see-through. I might need to thin this down to get it in there a bit better. Aww.
So what happens if you do something like that?
If I do something like that, I can just dry it, just because like this is clay. So once this dries, you can just scrape it off. You can do that with glaze as well. If you accidentally get like a big run mark. No, if I wiped it now, I can wipe off the blue, or I can just spread it. You can just like play around with it. But then I'm wiping the blue off underneath it as well.
And will that make a different color putting it over top of the blue?
They
Or
shouldn't.
does it mostly you just see what's on top?
Pretty sure you just see what's on top. I haven't played around with these enough to know exactly what this is going to do. I would assume it would just change colors.
Yeah,
Anna?
they just layers unless you mix them.
Yeah. Yeah, so this would just be stacked. Now, I don't think the color will change.
Is it hard to like scrape off just one layer though?
No.
Like if you are trying, like if your intention is to do like layered colors, and you're trying to scrape
Just-
a certain layer,
Not necessarily.
you like paint it on a little bit thicker?
You can definitely paint it on thicker. This isn't a Scraffito tool, so I'll go grab a proper Scraffito tool. I'm not getting you treats, Max. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. Boop up. So this is one Scraffito tool. There's a bunch of different types. It's pretty much just a small loop inside of there, and you'd use this to carve away the different layers of clay. This isn't dry yet, so it's not a great example.
You normally wait till it's a bit more dry, right?
Oh yeah. You can just scrape right through, clean it off a little bit. You can make little patterns. Once it's fully dry, you can draw on it with pencil or pen, and the pencil or pen will just burn off in the kiln. So you can draw something on your clay to kind of trace out if you wanted to. I'll get you a treat in just a minute, my guy.
He's part of the class.
He is, dude. I'm just learning.
He's ready. He's learning. He's
Just
learning.
learning.
He looks just like my Pomsky, but like 60 pounds heavier.
So you can do that. Also, he is very cute. Yes, good boy.
So you could, for example, like you were saying, like, if you wanted to have multiple layers, you could just scrape off the top layer.
Absolutely, yeah. We have hair dryers as well, so just for being fast, I'm not gonna hair dryer it, but if you guys want to, you can just paint a layer on and then go hit it with the hair dryer real fast for a couple minutes, and that'll, you know, dry your first layer a little bit quicker. Get in there. I don't think I'll keep this, I'm just doing random stuff.
No? You sure?
Yeah. Well, you know, now that you mention it, I might. So we let that layer dry, and then you can pretty much stack all the colors if you wanted to. Let it dry, obviously. Make sure your tool is clean. It's too soft. Won't work. I'm trying to get the one little stripe of the pink off the blue there, but it's just too soft. It's going right through. If they dry fast, yes. If you don't have your clay and your slip pretty close, well, not pretty close because your slip is really wet, but if your clay is really dry and you're trying to put slip on it, the clay has already shrunken a little bit, so it can definitely shrink away from where you put your color.
So you typically want to do this like layer pieces?
Pretty quick, yeah. So you wouldn't want to make a piece and then let it dry and then do this.
Okay, so you can't do it like on this.
No, unfortunately, not for this, but for like the slip and stuff you can. Or not the slip, the underglaze.
Right.
Come on, you just worked. Just do random decorations for now. And then next week we will, you don't have to do random decorations, but next week we will do more on these. So you can put more underglaze on them, we can spritz them and do more slips on them, or we can just put glaze on top of it. So we're gonna do that for today. Take time, make something nice. Look up some slip trailing, wonderful idea. And yeah, that's pretty much it for right now.
So you just like threw this, you didn't wedge it at all?
No, any clay fresh off the block you don't need to wedge because it won't have any air in it or anything like that. If you're doing hand building, if you're going on the wheel, yes, wedge it. The white one, yeah, P300, yeah. And I do have some pin tools, but maybe grab a bucket of water.